Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It is time for the Vopsy.com Indianapolis 250, the fourth round of the Prime Radio Racing League season. Here for the first of, I don't know how many seasons in 2022, of the year at least. But as you can see, looking from high above at the facility, it is a beautiful day here in Indianapolis. May 30th, 2022 is the sim time. Sim day, I should say. And then the time is 4 p.m., so the track will be relatively cool. Towards the end of the race, I hope. So that's going to be some great racing later on today. But track temperature at the moment, 43 degrees, which is going to be interesting to say the least for the qualifying times, which I will actually not be able to see because I registered as a driver, unfortunately. But we will have the lap times on the timing tower on the left, and we will have the track map up right now as well. If we load that up right here, there it is. It is round 4 of the season, not round 3, but it is the Vopsy.com Indianapolis 250. It is the second oval of the season as well. The first oval at Iowa was won by Alexis Newsom, who is in the field, I believe. Let me just quickly confirm if that's the case. I don't see her in the list, so we will not see Alexis Newsom tonight. I'm surprised to see, to be fair, but anyway. Track length is 2.5 miles, which is 4 kilometers. The altitude above sea level is 223 meters. Of course, it's located in Speedway, Indiana, in the USA, as we all probably know by now. Of course, if you aren't familiar with Indycar racing, this is literally the home of Indycar. This is where it was born, and we are going to do it for 100 laps, 250 miles tonight in this league, the Prime Radio Racing League. And this race will be sponsored by the Vopsy lowercase iRacing Instagram page. Of course, check it out. Vopsyville, that does great iRacing paints, which I will bring up right now for you guys to see. There it is, beautiful iRacing paints, not just for the IndyCar but also different cars. So check it out, Vopsy lowercase iRacing on Instagram. But as the drivers are out for qualifying, let's quickly have a look at all the good standing stuff in just a moment's time, because I seem to be having a few issues somehow bringing up all those graphics, so just give me one quick second. I will get them up in just a moment. Alright, here we go. So the driver standings, as we get rid of the background. Will Lyon leads it by 46 points over David Saranza, who sits 6 points clear of Matthew Levine. So it's a very tight battle for second in the championship. Of course, Will Lyon, with his win last week and also the season opener, has a very healthy advantage at the top. Sam Blackwood sits in 4th with 82 points, 9 points back on Levine, and then Jasper Ormer rounds off the top 5, just 1 point behind Blackwood. So actually make that a 5-6 car battle for the second position in the championship at the moment. And then of course we're going to look at the team's championship standings as well, which SMS Racing took back from Indy Alliance Racing. Of course, SMS going into last week's race didn't actually lead the team's points for the first time since season 1 of this league. So that was a first in quite a while for everybody to really see. But SMS is back at the top, now leading by 37 points over the Indy Alliance Racing team. NSH Racing team sits in the 3rd position. So the team's not as tight as the drivers, but of course we are still, well, not even halfway into the season yet, so plenty can still change. And speaking of the season, let's bring up the schedule. Of course, the first 3 races we've already finished. Tonight, the Indianapolis 250. Next week we go to Detroit, the first straight course of the season. Then we have a week off until Silverstone, Auto Club Speedway, Watkins Glen, Pocono and Laguna Seca. So currently in the warm-up session, which is really going to give us the first sights of where everybody will be on race pace. Please let me know about audio levels. Actually didn't get the chance to test them today yet, so they should be fine. But obviously just in case, as always. actually put them a little bit lower than that for myself. Maybe that works. So whilst these people continue to do their race simulations, I think it's a good time to bring up the qualifying results for today. So Hugo Olsen grabbed the pole by 39 thousandths of a second over Jesper Orman. Then Matthew Turner qualified in the third position, and look how close these gaps are. This is a heat qualifying session, by the way, which actually looks a little bit weird. I'm not used to this myself, but Thomas Christensen on the outside of row 2. Seb Alexander qualified in the 5th position with Shane Burke alongside him. Colin Nassen and Alex Salmon on the 4th row. Daniel Dinsdale and Oliver Silva on row 5. With Henry Bennett and Will Lyon, the championship leader, on row 6. Then David Sorrento and Sam Moyle, Brandon Dollar and Sharon van der Sloot, Paul Morgan and Mark Johnston, as we load the rest of the drivers. With Taylor Mills and Anna Jorfi bringing up row 10, then Joshua Tucker, Sam Blackwood, Andreas Eich, and Matthias Kraus on the final starting spot. Everybody else are admins, including myself, are actually registered as a driver by accident, so apologies about that, but shouldn't really impact the race altogether for us anyway, so. So obviously, as always, the Prime Meridian Racing League is sponsored by Vopsy iRacing Paints. Once again, check it out on Instagram. Vopsy lowercase iRacing is how you can contact Vilda Wallen, who does amazing iRacing paints. And I believe this IR paint is one of them as well, and yes it is. So check her out on Instagram, and also Major's Garage. PMRL has a referral link which you can use when purchasing a Major's Garage product, whether that's a setup or a coaching lesson. You can use that, and a small amount of that money, which won't be anything more than usual, will actually go to this league to help fund everything. So of course running an iRacing league isn't free, and it actually costs quite a bit of money. So if you want to help the league out and also get good setups for whatever you're driving, then make sure to use the referral code. And yeah, the PMRL has a bit of helping running things. As Orman gets a bit close to Olsen there at the end of warm-up. Just quickly listen to the broadcast myself. It sounds fine, so let's get this race going. The Indianapolis 250, round 4 of the season. So before we take the green flag, I quickly want to take a moment to talk about the track once again. Of course, this track opened in 1909. The first Indy 500 was actually a 300-mile event, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am, but just to be sure. Gary might be in chat to correct me on that, but it was actually a 300-miler back in the day before, of course, the cars got faster and it was eventually expanded to 500 miles. But since 1911, there has been an Indy 500 with the exception of World War II. And of course, we are still racing to this day around this legendary facility in real life and also on the sim here on iRacing. It is still an outdated scan of the track, but really doesn't take away the challenge that this track has to offer. It's 4 turns, and really they look all the same, but they really are different. So I'm looking forward to see how these drivers will do. We have some of the best drivers lining up here tonight to contest the 250 miles for Indianapolis, 100 laps. It is going to take for the winner to show up eventually, and it's going to be a long one. So here we go. Looking at the weather, it's 4:30 in the sim, which is later in the day than they race in real life, so the track temperatures will be going down significantly towards the end. And there's actually a custom setup as well for the league here tonight, not using the iRacing setups, and it is supposed to race a little bit better, so high expectations in terms of how the cars will be able to race. Then the 39-degree track temperature has actually gone down a few degrees from practice already, so like I mentioned, it is going to go down, and it will definitely improve the racing. So it is Hugo Olsen and Jasper Orman on the front row, with Mathieu Turner and Thomas Christensen on row 2. Seb Alexander and Shane Berg on row 3. Connie Naslund and Alex Salmon on row 4. Row 5 is Daniel Dinsdale and Oliver Silva. Then we have Henry Bennett, Will Lyons, Sam Moyle, David Saranzo, Brandon Dollar, Sherman van der Sloot, Paul Morgan, Anna Jorfi, Taylor Mills, Sam Blackwood, Joshua Tucker, Andreas Eich, Mark Johnston and Matthias Kraus, who is going to bring up the rear of the field in last position. Taylor Mills, most popular driver on the grid, I agree. Let's see what she can do though today. So as the field makes its way around turn 4, we are going to get ready for 100 laps, 250 miles around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It is the 4th race of the Prime Radio Racing League season, and we are here for the ride. So strap yourselves in your seat. We're going to go without commentary for the opening lap as we go green from the world's greatest race course, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The green flag is out. We are racing. Here at Indy, the end of the opening lap, as the frame rate is having a few issues. That's because there's so many cars on the track, but Hugo also leads lap 1 as he goes into turn 1, and he's got the entire field right behind as well. And you could already see on the opening lap a lot of people already lifting off the throttle, but there are multiple grooves being used here tonight as the entire field is slowly starting to sort themselves out as we're bringing in the timing tower. But clean and green so far, as we have Alex Salmon having a look around the outside of Shane Burke. Not really able to do anything as the entire field is single file at the moment, but we do have a few people making moves in the background. Biggest mover at the moment, Sam Blackwood, as he moves in front of Taylor Mills, who actually loses a position to Brandon Dollar as well, who moves himself up into 18th position. So the two SMS Racing cars together at the moment, 9th and 10th for Daniel Dinsdale and Will Lyon, who is up two positions from a starting spot into 10th place, as I mentioned, started 12th. And he is following his teammate. And these two will probably want to get a bit of a cleaner race than they did the last two races, as Daniel Dinsdale gets dangerously close to the outside turn 1 wall. Don't want to do that too often, sorry, as I'm struggling to speak, but it's very easy to understeer out wide. The car really wants to push up the racetrack, which we call error push, because of the dirt here. You get some understeer in the car, and you get really close to the wall sometimes. So, like I said, don't want to do that too often, because even the slightest taps can really damage your car quite significantly. And of course, damage is not good around this place because you want to go as fast as possible. But lap 5, and I have to say I'm actually a bit impressed that we're still green because everybody was bunched up really closely together on the opening few laps. As Seb Alexander goes up the inside of Alex Salmon to take over the 6th position. It's a very neat pass. Will Line also up a position on his teammate Daniel Dinsdale, who I think just let him go really. And Connie Naslund gonna make a move around Alex Salmon now too. So Alex losing 2 positions in, almost losing 2 positions in almost a lap. As Connie really had to get out of it now, so Will Line gonna take that position on the inside. 2 gonna run really closely together, but Will still holds that inside line, but now actually look for Connie to really pull back in front, and yes he does. Because of the draft of the car in front, so Will Line doesn't make up a position yet. Has to wait behind just a little bit longer. So Will to the inside. Gonna wash up just in front of Connie, and Connie is gonna cut back to the inside, trying to get that clean air on that inside line. Will holds it with the momentum on the high side, so move Will up another spot, up 4 positions from his starting spot. That's the 2nd biggest mover, together with Anna Jorfi, who is also up 4, and then there's the 2 biggest movers in the race. It's Sam Blackwood, and actually never mind, he is the biggest mover on his own right now. Sam Blackwood up 6. As he battles with Anna Jorfi for the 16th position. There's moves happening everywhere. It's really difficult to look at a battle, but it's great to watch. As Oliver Silva has dropped 2 spots from the green flag, but those 2 at the front, Hugo Olsen and Jasper Orman battling for the race lead. And across the other bricks the last time by, they were really close, and Jasper's going to go to the inside and take the lead into turn 3 on lap 8. And I believe that's going to be the first time that Hugo Olsen hasn't led a lap tonight, so Jasper taking over the top spot. And Hugo goes right back to the inside to retake that race lead, so Hugo definitely not really thinking about fuel saving, which is actually something that I was going to bring up in a few laps, but might as well do it now. If you are the car following another car, you're actually able to save so much more fuel because you're just drafting the car in front. The car in front cuts the air, and basically by doing that you can actually save a lot of fuel because you can lift off and not really lose any lap time at all. But apparently Orman and Olsen both want to lead, or they swap drafting, which it actually looks like as well, so they're trying to pull away from the cars behind. It's not really working at the moment, even though they do have 6/10 on the cars behind. It's not quite as effective as it might be on other tracks, simply because Indy is so hard to pass on anyway. Especially with this aero package on the new car. In the DW12 in the original days it was actually so easy to pass. You saw like 50 lead changes in the race. But on the sim here, as the track cools down, which I will bring up a few times today, it's still 39 degrees like the green flag, but it will drop. And that will allow the cars to follow more closely together as the tires wear a little bit slower and also provide more grip. But at the moment it seems like everybody is sorting themselves out apart from these 2. Oliver Silva making up a spot on Connie Naslund, who is down 5 spots from his starting position. So either Connie is saving a lot of fuel, which it doesn't look like because he's going for the inside again, but it's a bit strange to see him lose that much time compared to the cars in front, because if you look to the front, Oliver Silva right now has about a second gap to the next car in line. Connie is about to lose another position to Sharon van der Sloot. Sharon was actually on for a top 5 last week at Nürburgring, but was involved in a last lap incident, which I'm not sure where it actually dropped him down to, but it was for sure outside of the top 10, so that really hurt his race result. He was the only driver that really made the two-stopper work last week, but wasn't able to show for it with the result because he got involved in an incident like I just mentioned. So he is going to try to get a better result in tonight. As Jesper Olmo once again goes back to the race lead. So 13 laps into the Indianapolis 250, sponsored by Vopsy.com and Vopsy iRacing Paints. On Instagram, Vopsy lowercase iRacing is the place to be for not just your Indycar paints, but also other iRacing cars. As we once again have a change of the race lead, Hugo Olsen to the inside for turn 1. And like I just said as well, these two trying to swap draft it seems, but it's not working because they're not gaining any time. At the moment Matthew Turner, it was Thomas Christensen a few laps ago, but Christensen drops that position again. As these two will swap the lead out in the front. Henry Bennett is also on the move for Powerslide Motorsports on the high side of Daniel Dinsdale. Gonna try to make that work as Daniel has to get out of it because of the dirty air, and Henry with a very nice clean pass around the outside moves up into P9. We will go on board with Henry. And Henry isn't the only car really flirting with the outside line, as he is really doing it a lot around this place at the moment. It's actually every corner where he's doing it right now, as he gets a very nice run on Alex Salmon in front. Alex is going to go to the middle of the track to try and defend a little bit. Henry's going to go to the outside again, and with the momentum I'm expecting out of turn 4, unless Alex goes high this time around, doesn't seem like it. Henry to the outside line, should get a very nice amount of momentum across the front stretch, picks up the draft into 6th gear, goes to the inside, actually looks but doesn't go for it yet, gonna go for the outside again, and gonna cut back to the inside here. But he's going to back out of it to try again on the outside. So Henry all over the place trying to make up a position on Alex Salmon. But Alex at the moment placing his car in a decent position to hold on to the position. Which sounds kind of funny to say, but it is true. As Taylor Mills, our favorite driver, is making some moves. Gets by Sam Blackwood, who loses a position to Matthias Kraus as well. I'm not sure if Sam actually brushed the wall or something, but he's off the pace and he's gonna pull into the pits. Let's see if we can spot from the onboard if he's got suspension damage. Doesn't really seem like it, so I assume this is a scheduled stop. I didn't see anything happen to him apart from him dropping time, as we have the first caution on the track for Joshua Tucker, I believe. Is that true? Joshua is in the pits, but doesn't really show what the caution is for, so let's see if we can find it. Oh! Okay, that's very weird to see, to be fair. My mom doesn't know how to close the door properly without making a noise, but look at this. Across the front stretch, there's Alex Salmon and one of the red cars. I don't really know what happened there. I can't really tell who it is as well, but that's a violent one. Yeah. Don't really know what to really make of this one. It looks very weird to me. I want to go back and watch this in slow-mo. Maybe go on board. So that is the 73 of Anna Jorfi. And Anna is... oh, I was going to say moving to the left, but it doesn't really look like it at all. So Tucker goes for a wild ride across the pit wall, or over the pit wall into the pits, and that's gonna bring out the first caution tonight. Let's see who's gonna come into the pits, but I'm not really sure what happened there. It might have been a bit of netcode involved too, which is usually the case in these types of incidents on iRacing. But 16 laps of green flag racing. It's about halfway in the fuel stint, so I'm expecting everybody to come down into the pits and take fresh tires. And as I say that, Matthew Turner is teasing to stay out, but he's going to come in anyway. So the entire field at the moment deciding to come into the pits, and Sam Blackwood has gone down a lap, so he's going to stay out to get a lap back. But everybody that is on the lead lap, actually never mind, because Andreas Eik is going to stay out as the only driver, but everybody else is in the pits. So Andreas will be the odd man out, up 22 positions now, because he stayed out as the only car, as I mentioned already. But he will have the oldest tires, and actually he's going to prevent Sam Blackwood from unlapping himself, it seems. Unless Andreas is going to pit next time, so he might want to lead a lap. But at the moment, it seems like Andreas is going to try to stay out, gain track position, hope for another yellow in about 15 laps, because that's when he really has to pit. And I have seen this strategy work many times. It's not really a guarantee that it will pay off though, so it's quite risky to pull off early on. But I guess if you pit on the lead lap, if you pit from the lead, you stay on the lead lap as well, because the track is so long. So there isn't much harm in trying, but I wouldn't want to drop back because of my tire disadvantage, which we may very well see, because I did it in Indy Elite Series Kentucky last week. Stayed out with Alexis Newsom and Pablo Diaz, I believe it was. And the three of us stayed out on all tires at Kentucky, and we basically got swallowed up, except Alexis, because she had the clean air out in front. So it's quite risky to pull off, but if Andreas commits to it, I hope for him it pays off. Let's see if he does commit to it. And it seems like he is, so that's gonna leave Andreas out in the front and Sam Blackwood a lap down. The track temperature has gone down 1 degree from the green flag, so as I mentioned and will continue to mention, it's gonna keep going down. I really don't know what's going on with the iRacing frame rate sometimes. So my apologies. Just need a better system, I guess. So let's have a look at the first 8 people in the race. And like I covered a lap ago, everybody came into the pits except for Andreas Eik and also Sam Blackwood, but he came into the pits just before the caution came out, so technically it doesn't really count. But that leaves Andreas Eik in the lead, up 22 spots, and that was 18 laps into the stint basically, but we didn't run under caution for a lap or two, so I guess you could say 16 green flag laps of fuel used for Andreas Eik, and that's going to be 17 when we cross the line basically, because you're running at half pace and also using a quarter to half of the fuel. So Andreas is going to hope for a caution in the next 10-12 laps, and that will basically bring everybody back into the pits and cycle him to the front on that strategy then. So that's what Andreas is hoping for. Hopefully for him it pays off, but we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing here from Indianapolis. So the sedan pace car lights are out and it's going to come into the pits. So Andreas Eik is going to lead us to the green flag, as I said, and he actually leaves it for a little while, but he picks up the throttle and we are back racing as we see a few cars in the background making moves. You're not allowed to pass on the inside, only on the outside before the start-finish line. But the good thing for Andreas Eik though is that Sam Blackwood is in between himself and Hugo Olsen in second position on the lead lap for the race itself. So hopefully for Hugo, Sam won't be much of an issue, but of course Andreas is going to hope for Sam to really make life difficult for Hugo, which it doesn't really seem like he's doing. So Hugo to the inside line, going to keep running side by side, and actually Sam edges a nose in front going through turn 4. We have Jesper Orman going around Hugo Olsen now to take over P2 in the race, running right behind Sam Blackwood. Sam has lost about 9/10 to Andreas Eich, so Andreas pulling away from the rest of the field, and if this keeps going, he might actually pull away from the draft entirely, which is about 2.5 seconds around this place. So Sam gonna try to make his car wide. Of course, he wants to try and hold on to at least P2 to not drop down a lap when Andreas has to pit. Because if a caution comes out then, Sam will be able to get back on the lead lap. So I'm not really expecting Sam to make it that easy. He won't fight it too hard, but he won't make it easy either for sure. As Orman on the inside can't pull off the pass, and they have closed back up to Andreas now, so that advantage pretty much gone. As Jasper gets really close to Sam Blackwood there. Out of turn 2, but to the inside, and gonna look for the clean air on the bottom line, but Andreas gives him the dirty air, so Jasper has to lift out and can't keep his foot in there, which means that Sam goes right back around the outside, and look on the front straight as well as the back straight on the last time by. Andreas is basically giving Sam the draft, meaning that if Jasper pulls alongside Sam, Sam gets pulled back in front again, so it's nearly impossible for anybody to really pass Sam, because he does have the draft of Andreas. But Shane Burkle's on the move, up 2 spots into P4. Very nice qualifying result for him. As we go 2 by 2 into turn 3, almost going 3 wide there. As that's Jasper Orman holding on to the position. P3 from Shane Burke. He is doing a good job, as I mentioned. Also did very well last week, but couldn't really make the 2-stopper work like his teammate could, which meant he only just finished in the top 10. As Hugo Olsen has just gone to the race lead. I just missed that, I apologize, but Hugo Olsen to the race lead in front of Andreas Eich, and I will look for the pass to show that on the broadcast as soon as I can. I will do it just very quickly now. But just as I do that, there's another pass happening, which moves it up in the session event, but come on, give me the pass. There it is. So Hugo Olsen with a very nice run to the inside, gets the clean air, and Andreas Eich has to leave the door open, because you really can't shut somebody off this way in the race, take the air off. But Jasper Orman has now gone to the race lead. So bring up this pass as we try to keep up with the action, but Jasper with a huge run does the same move that Hugo just did the lap before, goes right to the inside line, and Sam really starting to struggle now with the dirty air. So the top 2 able to move by lap traffic, and just as I say that, Hugo under pressure from Sam Blackwood, who pulls back in front of Hugo. But Andreas on older tires, not doing that bad of a job, and he is closing in on this fuel window. He needs to pit in about 5-6 laps time, so actually 5-6 laps, make it 7-8 laps time, because we did bring under caution for a little bit. But despite the older tires, really not doing a bad job at all. He did gain a chunk of track position too. In the meantime, though, we'll line up 4 spots in the P8. Trying to work on Matthew Turner for P7. As Henry Bennett, who we were on board with a few minutes ago, is up into 6th. So Henry also doing a great job cutting through the field. And Henry is one of the drivers that is so good around Indianapolis. He knows exactly what he needs to do to get his car at the front at the end. He's won many Indianapolis races on iRacing in the past, in many leagues as well as the official series, the open series, and also fixed. So he knows what he's doing, and look for him to get to the front at the end and be a contender for the race win. Bangful position for P13 between Paul Morgan and Connie Nassi, and Connie losing that spot to Paul. As we have Daniel Dinsler cutting right to the inside of Oliver Silva as well to take over that position, P11. And Oliver Silva, I think, is struggling with some damage because he's dropping down the field so quickly. Seems really difficult for Oliver to hold on to the car and follow, which hints at some suspension damage to me personally, but of course it's a long race, still 70 laps to go, so it's not over entirely yet. As the dirty air and the tyre wear is starting to play a bigger and bigger role tonight. Oliver Silva is going to come down into the pits, so this might be a confirmation of my assumption that Oliver's got some damage. Let's see how long he is stationary in the pit boxes. Pulls it down into his stall. Car, couldn't see it go up the jacks, we might see it go down. And that's for sure some damage repair happening right now, so not ideal for Oliver. And he is already effectively out of contention as he's going to be lapped. Sorry, trying to figure out my words here, looking at the timing screen, but he will be put down a lap, so you can almost effectively take him out of contention for a good result here today, as we have 17 cars still running on the lead lap, the last being the GOAT, Sam Moyle. So David Soranzo driving in the 18 car from France in the 16th position, second in the championship. Did very well in the first two road courses of the season. Had a decent result at Iowa too. But at the moment running in the mid-pack at Indy and really has to get out of the throttle right there to not hit the outside wall for turn 2. But look for David to move to the front. Of course, he's a driver that knows when to race other cars and when not to, even on the ovals. And actually going back a few weeks into one of my interviews with him, I actually saw him race in a few oval races, which is where I knew him from. So I assumed he was an oval driver. He isn't. Primarily a road course driver, so look for him to be stronger there, but it's not like he is a newbie to the ovals as well. He knows kind of what it takes. He's got enough experience on them anyway to really know when to push the car, when not to. As he gets a very nice run on Taylor Mills, might make a move into turn 3. Let's see. Closes up to the back of that car. Gonna back out of it. And Taylor also gonna shut off the door there with the dirty air to David, as we have smoke up in front. That might have been from Paul Morgan. So he may have gotten close to the outside wall. As he runs side by side with Connie Naslund, as Connie almost made contact to the left rear of Paul. But none of that happened, so still going. The only caution so far came at the end of lap 17, I believe it was. Daniel Dinsdale battles with Alex Selma for position as well. Daniel down a position from his starting position. Looking for a better result. He was involved in 2 lap 1 incidents at Barber and at Nürburgring. And And Iowa didn't have the best of races as well, so he is looking to really kick off his season tonight at Indy. So far, the only SMS driver who really is right there is Will Lyon. And I guess Matthew Levine is also there, but he's really been in no man's land last week, especially at Nürburgring. Matthew Levine was. But, oh! Just saw a wheel flapping around. I couldn't actually see if the 24 that had a wheel flapping around actually hit the wall, but I would imagine he did, because otherwise it doesn't give netcode damage. So a tap on the wall for 24 of Paul Morgan. I'm not really familiar with the Simtech Motorsports team, so can't really tell if he is a road or oval driver, as Daniel Dinso and Alex Salma continue to go at it for P9. But definitely not ideal to get so close to the wall this early on. We're not even halfway yet, remember that too. We still have 60 at the line, 62 laps to go. So a lot of what you see right now is still racing field position, but it's not nearly as aggressive as it's going to get later on in the race. Really right about lap 60, the gloves will come off and everybody will turn up the aggression notch and really pick it all up. Shane Burke goes around Sam Blackwood. Of course, that's not pole position, that's Sam being lapped by Shane as well. At the front though, I haven't really looked here in the last 10 or so laps, but Jesper Orman running out in front of Hugo Olsen, the pole sitter, drops to second. Henry Bennett, I just missed that, all the way up into the third position from Powerside Motorsports into the podium paying positions at the moment. Of course, this is Indy, a podium doesn't really mean that much, but still, top 3 is pretty solid. And he was, I think, 6th, 5th or 6th about 10 laps ago when we last checked in on the leaders too. So Henry making a few moves to get himself up at the front too, as he follows his teammate Hugo Olsen for Powerside. So those two against Jesper Orman for IAR at the front, and Andreas Eich is still in between them, but he is actually a lap down. And I believe Andreas pitted on lap 35. Yes, he did. So he's already out again. Just missed that. Sorry, whilst I was talking about it, but I completely forgot as well because there were so many battles going on. But Andreas did come into the pit 6 laps ago. So remember that Andreas, is on a different strategy compared to everybody else. Everybody pitted at on lap 18 during the caution, except Andreas and Sam. But at the moment, Andreas unable to get back to get on the lead lap. So if there's a caution, it surely doesn't have to be now for Andreas because he's trapped a lap down then. But as soon as those leaders pit, I think you will see Andreas cycle back to the front again. Or at least be near it. Actually, as I say that, trying to think here real quick. If you pit from basically the lead, Jesper Orman, you come out in 16th position, just behind Sam Moyle, who is going down the front stretch. Not just behind. Actually rejoin here on the back stretch, just going into turn 3 now. So, not sure what happened to Andreas, but he lost time somewhere. So let's see if we can find it in the pits. Into the box. Goes in very slowly, actually slowed it down too early, so lost, I would say, a second there at most. then here on the pit exit. Of course, this is so crucial to the race. There's a bump on in the middle of turn 1, and basically from there it's flat out until turn 2 on the short shoot here, and then on the access road on the pit exit. The car gets really light because you have no downforce with the Speedway Aero kit, but doesn't look too bad from Andreas. So I think he lost all the time in the pit entrance and also the pit box entrance. So 45 laps in, and as I mentioned, just one caution. It's been clean and green since then. So great showing by all these drivers. Of course, the Prime Radio Racing League has put together a great talent pool. If you would like to be a part of it, there is a Discord link in the description of the broadcast where you can sign up and get involved with the league. Next race is going to be at Detroit, the streets of Detroit at Belle Isle, which is quite a tricky street course, but if road course and street course racing is your thing, then might actually be the perfect challenge for you, because it is a great fun little track. It's not one I've driven on many times myself, but when I do enjoy it. So if you're looking for a Wednesday night IndyCar league, then definitely check it out. As we still have 20 cars running in.
Caution,
90 cars running now, as we have a caution on the racetrack with 55 laps to go, and I do not see where the caution is for. Is that Anna Jorfi? No, she's already in the pits. Where is the caution for? I can't see it. This is to the moment it came out. Trying to find where the caution is for. Is it Taylor Mills? Yes, it is for Taylor Mills. So let's go back to when the caution came out and then rewind a little bit further. And actually, I think I already know exactly what happened. Yep, I knew it. So behind, I believe that's Connie Naslund. Car pushes up, boom, right into the outside turn 2 wall. Nothing you can do. As soon as the car takes off, you're a passenger. So Taylor Mills, exit. And that's going to bring us down to the second caution of tonight, with 53 laps to go this time by. Let's have a look at the weather. We didn't do that for a few minutes. It's past 5 p.m. in the sim now, so track is down to 36 degrees. Which really will spice up the racing. And look at all these cars trying to make up a position in the pits, because they know it's absolutely crucial to get track position at Indy. It's so difficult to follow and to pass as soon as the tires really settle in. Of course, on cold tires it's a little bit easier to pass. But as soon as these tires go, it becomes more and more difficult. So Orman gonna bring us down into pit lane, with Andreas Eick now being cycled to the front of the queue, and he should get waved by in, well, when we go green with 1 lap to go. But everybody else, once again, coming into the pits. And so far, everybody on the same strategy, as Alex Selman gets really close to Paul Morgan there, but not able to gain a position. As Hugo Olsen maintains the race lead, with Henry Bennett moving up a spot in front of Jesper Orman. So something happens, maintains the lead. Hugo Olsen didn't. He actually gained the lead from Jesper Orman coming into the pits. So something went wrong for Jesper Orman. So we're gonna try to find what happened to him, as we have someone driving by there. Great. Hello, Jesper. Where are you on the timing screen, sir? Here it is. So going into the pit box, I think he's going to overshoot. Oh, he doesn't. Car goes up the jacks like normal. Ah! I know what happened. So Jasper was leading when we were running on the green, so Jasper basically burned the most fuel, and Hugo Olsen actually had to stop a little bit shorter because he had to fill the car up less than everybody else. So that's what happened, a shorter stop time for Olsen and also Bennett, so that means Jasper drops to third, which now is going to leave Hugo out in front, which when we go green, he will probably burn the most fuel out in front. Of course, the car in front cutting the air for everybody else behind, which is where the drafting aspect of oval racing comes in. Gary isn't racing, Robert. He's an admin. Don't ask me why the admins are registered as drivers, by the way, including myself as a commentator, but oh well. Because I guess we just are. So under the second caution, coming up to halfway in the Vopsy.com Indianapolis 250. It is the fourth race of the season. Will Lion Championship leader not having a great day, but his championship rival, David Soranzo, is not doing much better as well. He is down in 15th with Will in 9th. So the championship will close down if it stays where everybody is right now, but of course we are far from the finish.
Hang on, we're not going green.
Oh,
not
actually it was
going
about to say
green.
green, but delayed green, so an extra lap of caution. So, currently halfway into the race, we got Connie Naslund and Matthias Kraus in the pits. I believe they're topping off on fuel, but biggest mover at the moment in the race is Henry Bennett, up 9, started 11th, up to second. So, like I mentioned, Henry definitely knows what he's doing. He's won so many races around Indy in the past on iRacing. And he is showing off once again how much experience he really does have on the sim, as he is running behind his Powerslide Motorsports teammate Hugo Olsen. So those two doing a great job. As we are coming back to the green flag, hopefully we're going to go green this time by. Of course, we had a delayed yellow the last lap, but Hugo Olsen out in front. He has led the most laps together with Jesper Orman. They were swapping the lead for quite some time, but Hugo also now going to lead us to the green flag. Pace car is in, as Andreas Eik is going to move out of the way, or is he going to go into the pits? I don't know, but anyway, Hugo also picks up the pace, and we are back underway at Indianapolis. And look at this, Shane Burke already going side by side with Jesper Orman for the third position. And Henry Bennett goes to the inside of Hugo Olsen too. So Henry to the lead in turn 3. On lap 51, that's the first time he has led tonight, and I'm not expecting him to let go of it that easily as well going forward. So
The yellow
Henry
flag
Bennett
is
to the
out.
lead as we have another caution. I think everybody just moved to the inside there, but I almost thought somebody spun there. Just got a mini heart attack, but caution is back out. Almost right away. And once again, not seeing why we have a caution. So I don't know what's going on with SDK, but I can't see the caution. So we're gonna be forced to find it out again ourselves. Oh, there it is. It's Sam Moyle in the 08 car. In, looks like turn 2. It might be the exit of turn 4. I can't really tell. Now, it was actually some netcode contact involved. So let's have a look. This is Sam Moyle and the 18. Can't really see who that was, but definitely netcode involved there in that incident. So yeah, let's look at it from this angle, and of course just I want to slow it down. It already happens. Great. So look at this, the 18 on the inside, almost a tire's width of netcode there, so that's pretty bad on iRacing's behalf. Of course, not much you can really do about connection. It's online racing, so you're always going to have a bit of connection delay of some sort with other drivers, but that one was pretty bad, and it's not really been that well recently for iRacing. It used to be better back in the day, at least when I started on iRacing. You know, it's not that long ago. It was only 2 years ago at this point, but still. I think netcode has definitely been a bigger issue recently than it has been in the past, and I don't know why that is, but definitely has ruined many people's races, and it continues to do so. So whilst we are under caution, let's quickly bring up this beautiful slideshow again. Of course, this race is sponsored by Vopsi iRacing Paints. You can find Vilda's Instagram page. If you look for Vopsi lowercase iRacing on Instagram, you can see the slideshow right here. Not just the Indycar, but also many other cars where she does paints for your team or for your personal use. They all look great. So check it out on Instagram. Also want to thank Majors Garage for sponsoring the Prime Radio Racing League. You can use our referral code in the description below on any Majors Garage purchases. So whilst we are under caution as well, let's also look at the schedule. Next week, the Detroit Grand Prix from Belle Isle. Then we have a week off at the halfway point in the season before we return to Silverstone. Then the second Triple Crown round, the third oval of the season, Autocross Speedway, before we close the season up with Watkins Glen, Pocono and Laguna Seca. And I'm looking forward to Watkins Glen. It's a different layout to what the PMRL usually uses around Watkins Glen. That's the normal boot layout, but the classic boot doesn't have the chicane on the back straight. So the apex speeds through, just have to think for one quick second, 1, 2, 3, 4, through turn 5 it's going to be on that layout. Are going to be so huge, because normally you have the chicane in there to slow the cars down, but you're not going to have it this time around. So look for the Indycars to really show their downforce levels in those high speed corners. Of course, Watkins Glen is phenomenal in this car. The Indycar is an absolute beast around that place, and I'm looking forward to seeing it from an outside perspective again. Of course, I wish to be driving in it, but that's not my job here in this league at the moment. It might be in the future, I don't know, but at the moment just focusing on the broadcasting duties that I have. But Watkins Glen, definitely a historic racetrack, of course, in Watkins Glen, New York, and also in this league, and the IndyCar community in general. It's a shame we don't race there in real life anymore, by the way. But anyway, pace car lights are out. Henry Bennett is gonna lead us to the is gonna lead us to the green flag for the first time tonight, as he picks up the pace.
Green flag, green flag.
He gets a nice jump on his teammate Hugo Olsen. Those two power slide drivers going unchallenged into turn 1. That's Shane Burke under pressure from Jasper Orman right behind, as we also have Daniel Dinsdale making moves on Seb Alexander in the background. But look at the draft of Hugo Olsen. He's going to pull to the inside, and I think they're going to try swap drafting now with 45 laps to go. That's Shane Burke closing in as well on Henry Bennett now. Top 5 already single file at the moment. Of course the top 2 is still battling, but Daniel Dinsdale unable to get by Seb Alexander for the time being, as Henry Bennett on the inside of turn 1 retakes the lead once again, as we have side by side action between Jasper Orman and Shane Burke. Jasper getting around Shane, so moves back up into P3. Of course, Jasper led just before the last caution, not the last caution, but the one before that came out. So Jasper trying to make up ground again, but Shane battling him doesn't really help him, as these two are losing touch to the two leaders, as Henry Bennett once again goes to the inside of turn 1 of his teammate Hugo Olsen. Oh, as we have, I believe there was Seb Alexander brushing the wall in the middle of turns 1 and 2, the short shoot, that's what I was trying to say. And David Sorenso, second in the championship. I talked about him 20 laps ago. I thought he was an oval driver, he isn't, but he sure does know how to approach these races. He's got the right mindset for it, and it shows, because he was 16th when I talked about him. He's up to 10th now, on the same strategy as everybody around him. So doing a great job at the moment, as Taylor Mills is having issues, stops in turn 4. He's gonna pick up the pace again, so I don't think we're gonna get another yellow. We stay green, as we have a car flying at full speed there as well. But Hugo Olsen to the inside again to retake the lead. And Taylor Mills goes into the pits, not having the best of races today. Currently got 10 viewers in chat. Welcome everybody. If you like the broadcast, make sure that you leave a like on it too, as well as subscribe to the channel. Of course, the broadcasting done all on the Prime Radio Racing League YouTube channel. Got highlights and pole videos as well, pole lap videos I should say, which will be released in the next week as well for as these two continue to swap the lead out in front, the two Powerslide Motorsports drivers. Let's have a quick look and search for a few other battles around the track. As the two SMS Racing drivers, Daniel Dinsdale and Will Lyon, trying to get around Seb Alexander. Seb actually brushed the wall a few laps ago, but his car doesn't seem to be damaged at all. So that's good for him. But as I also mentioned in the beginning of the race, you don't want to brush the wall too often, because even the slightest steps at these speeds can really damage your car significantly, which will of course mean a decline in performance, which is not what you need around this place. At a road course you can actually get away with it, with some of that, but on an oval definitely not. As Will Lyon, Daniel Dinster gets around Seb Alexander for 7th position. Also, I was looking at my timing screens, and I think Will Lyon is going to line him up for the same move here in turn 1 again. So let's see how Will positions his car, picks up the draft. Maybe Seb learned from Daniel though, so let's see what happens here through turn 1. And Will is going to go to the very high side, picks up some momentum. Going to try to do the same again, trying to pick up clean air, but can't really do anything because the dirty air kicks in right there as he has a car alongside as David Soranzo to the inside, and those two are championship rivals basically. But David not able to pull off the pass yet as we are inside 40 laps to go. Fuel window is about 20 laps, 29 under green if you lead. So what these two power slide drivers are doing, Henry Bennett and Hugo Olsen, is actually going to stretch their fuel a little bit. They are of course racing each other, but they're also saving fuel in the process because they're drafting. So look for them to go about 30 laps. So the fuel window will open on lap 70. So everybody's single file at the moment, don't really see any battles at the moment. So everybody just trying to make it to the final stops, I would assume, before we really see some more action. Of course, we had the restart about 10-15 laps ago. So the tire wear is definitely also kicking in. These two continue to swap the lead, so those are actually the only battle on the track at the moment. So 34 laps to go. Henry Bennett once again takes the lead. And at the moment, it's really an unknown to me who's led the most laps at this point. Of course, you get points, bonus points for leading a lap, leading the most laps, and also, I believe in PMRL, you also get a bonus point for the pole. The fastest lap, sorry, you also get a bonus point for the pole. Which has gone to Hugo also. 12 cars still in the lead lap as we cross the line to start lap 69. Nice, as we have some issues. Does Henry Bennett having a few issues? I'm not sure what happened there for him, probably just blinked out. But he is back in the session, so nothing really too significant, apart from that it looked really scary, but nothing to worry about. As they make their way around lap traffic, over I believe Sam Moyle that is, as David Soranzo gets around Will Lyon. And also Seb Alexander getting by Will Lyon, so Will losing 2 positions. Seb on the outside holds on to the position. David Soranzo going to try to break the draft from Will, and also Seb. And David slowly but surely moving up into the top 8 now. So doing a great job tonight, up 5 positions. It's not bad for a driver who doesn't drive ovals too much. So fuel window is open this lap. If you pit now, you can make it with very minimal fuel saving. So look for the first car to start. The first car, sorry, to start pitting off in the next lap or 2. This is a group of cars with Sam Moll also involved there, but that's a lap car. So Daniel on the inside gets by, and also Matthew Turner gonna follow. So no real issues, but David Soranzo though on the move to the inside, 3 wide into turn 3. Gonna make the move and get by Matthew Turner. Those two gonna get really close, Sam Moll and Matthew Turner, but they get away with it. I think Sam actually brushed the wall again. But Soranzo up into 7th now. So great move. It's risky, but it paid off. So 28 laps to go now. The fuel window is definitely open now. You can actually make it to the end without saving, even if you're leading. Everybody's last pit lap was... Trying to find it here real quick. Lap 47. So about 5 laps away from when they really have to pit. So it's basically going to be a straight one-stopper to the end from here. And here we go. We have a lapped car peeling off, but the pit cycle is starting as the fastest lap of the race just set by Shane Burke at 40.61. So pretty solid speed in that car, in the draft of Jesper Orman just in front as well. Well, I say just in front, it's about half a second, but those two all running in line. Here goes Henry again to the inside of turn 3. And I wonder if those two are talking on the Discord or maybe TeamSpeak, depending on what they're using. They might even be using Skype. But I wonder if those two are talking about how they're going to tackle this pit sequence. And actually, we have the answer right there. So Henry Bennett going to move into the pits first. And oh, that's Jesper Orman getting dangerously close to speeding. Maybe he did speed. Hopefully for him he didn't. But I was just going to say, I'm wondering if the Power Slide boys are maybe discussing to pit separately to have the best pit entrance and exit as well. So Henry stops in his box. Jesper going to drive through all the stalls into his. Actually locks the race as well, sorry. And he might have gotten a speeding penalty, let's see. Actually he didn't, wow. So Jesper came in really hot, but actually gets away with it. And follows right behind Henry Bennett, so Jesper makes up a little bit of ground on Henry. Gotta be careful on the pit exit though, especially following in dirty air too. Makes his way around it okay, so Now the next cars are going to make their way into the pits for the final time tonight, unless there's another caution. Inside 25 laps to go. Hugo also, sorry, your race leader coming down into the pits. Fresh Firestone and fuel off and away without any issues. Let's see where Henry is in relation to Hugo Olsen, and I think that was Henry Bennett flying right through turn 1 on the outside line. So Henry is going to gain quite some time on his teammates as Hugo slots into line getting up to speed, but I would imagine the draft will suck Hugo back up there basically in the next lap or two, so not much really to comment on that apart from that as well. But Jesper Orman in the lead, got around Henry there on the previous lap. Henry going to go to the inside now, so from here it's going to be a race for the win. Of course I would expect the Power Slide boys to try to work together if they can, to try and get, I guess you could say, try to get rid of Jesper Orman, but when it comes down to it, they are going to race each other as hard as they possibly can to try and win this race. Of course, Indy being the most important race of the season, it's the one that all the drivers want to win. And if you know what Indy means, you're going to go for it. Got Shane and Daniel also in the pits. Daniel following Shane right behind as well. Will Lyon is gonna be the last of the leaders to come into the pits. You only have to fuel for 23 laps, so you can actually get away with about 60 liters, which will actually decrease your stop time by a little bit, about a second. So Will into the pits. Car goes up the jacks, a little bit too far to the right perhaps, but shouldn't cause too many issues as he is off and away. Spins up the tires in the process. As Henry Bennett and Hugo Olsen continue to battle and they move by Will Lyon. There's also a battle going on between Thomas Christensen and Daniel Dinsdale for position, but let's go back to the leaders. And as Jesper Orman has lost their position to Henry, so it's Henry versus Hugo once again. Of course, like we've been doing all season long so far, driver of the day. There's 21 laps to go. The vote closes at the checkered flag. You can vote for a driver of the day, basically the driver who you think performed the best. Thank you to Jessica Saban for posting the link there. The vote is between Hugo Olsen, Henry Bennett, David Soranzo and Shane Burke. At the moment, on strategy of course, being the biggest movers and also the two leaders, Henry Bennett and Hugo Olsen. It's actually quite a tough one, to be fair. I'm gonna say David Soranzo. Simply because he's been charging through the field very nicely. So did Will Lyon, by the way, but for David I would say it's a little bit more impressive because he doesn't drive the ovals as much. I know that Will does the official series now as well. Not the official, the open series I should say, for Indy Alliance Racing. So I would really say that Will is a little bit more experienced, so I'd say that David's doing the best job out of those two at least. But not taking anything away from Will, by the way, he's doing a great job too, but David definitely doing a good job. And actually, as I talk about them both, they bunched up together in a group of cars led by Thomas Christensen just in front, Daniel Dinsdale, David Soranzo, Will Lyon in that group, and actually Matthew Turner just behind as well. As Daniel goes to the inside, gets by Thomas Christensen. And these three will continue to race it out for the race win. Across the yard of bricks once again, Henry Bennett gonna lead that time by. 14 cars still on the lead lap. If there is a caution right now, Oliver Silva might get a little bit lucky there because Oliver is about to be put a lap down in a few laps, I would imagine, because the draft is really going to allow the leaders to catch up a little bit quicker. But for those two leaders, it's probably on their mind that Oliver Silva is not going to make it easy. So Henry moves to the front, which might be where you want to be as they approach this lap traffic for Henry. His case, of course, if you're Hugo, you want to be in front of Henry, but you can't both be in front of each other. As Hugo once again goes to the inside. Actually, oh, bit of a wiggle there for Hugo, I think. As Oliver is in turn 4 on the exit, so they're going to close up in a lap or two. As we cross the line for 16 laps to go, Henry Bennett going to drive by again on the inside, leads that lap again. So as we shape up for the final few laps in this race, I for one final time want to bring up the weather. Track temperature is 23 degrees. It's very cool. Approaching, well, past 5:30 sim time as Hugo also goes to the inside once again. Track temperature is down almost 10 degrees since qualifying, as there's a car on the inside. Who is that? I couldn't really tell who that was. It might have been a lapped car. Difficult to tell who it was. Anyways, we stay green. And those track temperatures going down definitely has promoted some good racing tonight. It's been fantastic to watch. And we still have 15 laps to go of that in the Vopsi.com Indianapolis 250. So here we go around the lap traffic of Oliver Silva. Henry is the first one to get by. Now it's up to Hugo Olsen to do so, but in the process Henry is actually able to pull away a little bit as Hugo's gonna get a draft from his teammate there. So Henry being nice with 40 laps to go. Didn't really expect to see that, to be fair. So Hugo able to close back in again with that draft. And I think we're going to see a crazy final few laps in the race tonight. With, at the moment, 2 cars in the mix. But don't count out anybody like Jasper Orman or even Shane Burke, who is running behind. I think Thomas Christensen is a little bit too far away as David Sorensen moves around Daniel Dinsdale for 6th. And as I say that, Dinsdale moves back by again on the outside. And remember that this is the race for championship points basically. At the moment, Sorensen will make up a little bit on Will Lyon. It won't be much, but it's a little bit. Every bit helps. So I would imagine David's focusing on beating Will Lyon tonight by as many positions as physically possible for him. As Christensen goes to the inside of Daniel Dinsdale. Driver of the day update, by the way. Soranzo and Burke both tied for votes. So if you haven't voted yet, make sure to go to the straw poll and vote for your driver of the day. Once again, options: David Soranzo, Shane Burke, Hugo Olsen and Henry Bennett. The last two of which who have been trading the lead for the biggest part of this race. And it's difficult to tell who of these two has led the most laps. It's one of them for sure, so the bonus points are going to go to one of those two drivers for leading those most laps. But coming back towards 10 to go, 25 miles left of racing. In a race that's only seen 3 cautions, I believe, if I counted correctly. So across the line it's Hugo Olsen in front and Jesper Orman is right in the mix as well. Almost went 3 wide into turn 1. So inside 10 laps to go. The gloves are definitely off because look at the run that Orman just had, and also Shane Burke in the mix, by the way. Track temperature down another degree as Henry Bennett to the inside takes the lead again. And this race is really starting to look like an old DW12 race where the lead was traded every end of the racetrack basically. As now it's Hugo to the inside with Burke passing Orman on the inside too. As Burke and Orman get really close together as well. Those two battling for P3 at the moment. As Jesper drives around the high side again to clear Shane. .5 miles to go. Across the line once again. It's difficult to tell who's got the best chances to win this race. It's for sure one of the top 2, I would imagine, because I don't think Jesper will be able to get by the top 2. Simply because their teammates are going to try to work together to at least hold off Orman. But on the final few laps, the final 2 or 3 laps maybe, I think the Powerside boys are just going to turn off the playing nice button and really start going for it for real and against each other to try and win this race. Of course, I already talked about it a few times. Henry Bennett's got so much experience on this track specifically. One of the best drivers around Indianapolis in the iRacing community. But also got Hugo with huge amounts of talent too, so it's just about timing at the moment, and at the moment it seems like Henry Bennett's got that one nailed at the moment, as well as that car being in the way. But 5 laps to go, this time by. Just one final reminder before I start focusing on the race itself. Driver of the day votes, it will be called by the checkered flag, so if you want to vote, the link is in the chat, posted by Jessica, so thank you. As David Soranzo moves into the 5th spot now, so making up positions again is the Frenchman. As we have a car brushing the wall, that was a lapped car. I think Shane was in that too, but I think he's okay. Hugo also with another huge run down the front straight. He's going to lead this lap. So with a few laps to go, I think actually the cars just switched from Henry Bennett to Hugo Olsen, because Hugo is really lining him up for the front straight, and he is able to clear Henry easily down the front straight before they cross the line. So I think Hugo's got the best chances to win at the moment, of course, unless Henry really changes up his approach. Which it doesn't seem to be doing. Once again goes to the inside of turn 3. But at the moment it doesn't seem like you want to be leading off of turn 4 coming to the checkered flag here. As we have 3 laps to go, 7.5 miles. Hugo Olsen once again led that lap. So this race is going to come down to the absolute wire between the top 4. And Henry once again goes to the inside. Hugo definitely tucking in line a little bit earlier than he used to be doing a few laps ago, which really is giving him a huge run down the front straight like I just mentioned. So now Henry's going to pick up the draft from a lapped car, and it's going to help him for sure down the front straight this time. He's going to lead this lap. But 2 laps to go in the Vopsi.com Indianapolis 250, 10 miles left, and it's all between the power slide, boys. I don't think Orman or Burke really have anything left in the tank for those two. It's looking more less and less likely, I should say, more and more unlikely, as Hugo Olsen has now gone to the inside. So I think Henry Bennett has now reversed his approach from a few laps ago. So coming to the white flag, Hugo Olsen leads. Will he lead across the line though? I think he just about will. Actually he didn't. Henry Bennett led that lap. So white flag is out. Final lap around Indianapolis. And it's a 3-way battle for the win, because Orman is right back in the mix again. But Hugo gonna look for the clean air. Gonna pick up the draft down the back straight. Henry gonna break that draft. He's gonna try to snake, I would imagine. No, he doesn't. Hugo to the outside line. He's going to try to pinch him down, I would imagine too, but side by side through turn 4. And I think with the momentum it's going to be Hugo Olsen, but let's see who is going to win this race. Hugo Olsen versus Henry Bennett is going to be Hugo Olsen who wins the Vopsi.com Indianapolis 250. What a battle towards the final. The closing stages of this race. I'm actually lost for words right now. Holy, that was close, but Hugo Olsen goes to victory lane. For race 4 of the season, he beats Henry Bennett, who is so experienced around this place, as we have cars wrecking in the background, but it's all post-finish, so it's so good. But Hugo Olsen wins it for Powerslide Motorsports, and it's another Powerslide Motorsports win at Indianapolis. That team is something else, on the ovals especially, and especially here. So we're gonna see post-race celebrations by Hugo Olsen. Here he is. And that's a beautiful shot right there. Burning them up. You can barely see the car through the smoke, but he is the winner of the Vopsi.com Indianapolis 250. In a epic battle with his teammate, Henry Bennett, who lines up just behind, who also does donuts. So it's a Powerslide 1-2 at Indy. But I believe your race results are in, so let's bring them up. So Hugo Olsen wins it by 27 1/1000ths of a second in front of his teammate Henry Bennett, both for Powerslide Motorsports, so they're going to move up in the team's points as well, I would imagine, after this race. Jasper Orman for Indy Alliance Racing finishes 3rd. It's still a podium. It's not where you want to be at Indy, but still a solid result for Jasper. Shane Burke finishes in 4th. Thomas Christensen rounds off the top 5. The rest of the top 10 is David Sorrento, who does a great job. Daniel Dinsdale, Will Lyon, championship leader. loses a few points to David. Then we got Matthew Turner and Seb Alexander. Then the final cars are Oliver Silva, Connie Naslund, Andreas Eick, Sam Blackwood, Taylor Mills, Alex Salmon, Sam Moyle, Paul Morgan. And we're gonna look for the second page, or the next page I should say. Then we've got Matthias Kraus, Sharon van der Sloot, Mark Johnston, Brandon Dollar, Anna Jorfi, Joshua Tucker, and all the admins and stewards as well, who of course didn't take part in the race. So we are gonna go on Discord and see if anybody likes to talk to us. I figure a few people will be up to a chat. But what a race we have seen today. It actually went green for quite a while early on. It took 17 laps to get the first caution, which I would have expected it to be a little bit earlier because of the early race attrition, which usually happens around Indy, but that really didn't happen at all. So it's been a while, but not that many cautions too, so I think as a league overall it was a great race to watch, and also saw plenty of racing, especially towards the end, of course, that phenomenal battle between Henry Bennett and Hugo Olsen. But we'll just give these people a few minutes to get on Discord and see if they're up for a chat. We've got Jesper Orman up there as well, so he finishes in third. Let's actually go in there. He is in a team chat, but we'll just jump in there anyway. Jasper Orman in the team chat, but hello to you, sir. Another great performance by you tonight. Second podium on the ovals this season. Tell me about your race and your part in that final battle there.
Yeah, thanks, but I feel a bit disappointed. I really wanted to bounce back with a win here from last week. But yeah, you're right. A P3 is always good. I knew it was going to be so hard on that last stint with those two guys up there. I really tried. I tried to go on the inside and the outside. I had a couple of runs, but it's so difficult to. Maybe I could have gotten to the low line on one of those occasions, but. It's a bit of a risk. It's a bit of an aggressive move. I was kind of trying to maybe they'll start fighting with 2 laps to go, and I can maybe get a run on the last straight or something. They started fighting the last lap. Yeah, I just realized it was gonna be too tough to get a P1 or P2 kind of early already. So yeah, I was just trying to protect my position from Shane, who was really fast today. So yeah.
Yeah, obviously disappointed, but still, like you also said as well yourself, P3 is still great, of course. You want to win at Indy, but going for the rest of the season in those points are crucial as well. So definitely a solid result, but feel free to send out any shoutouts before I move on to Hugo.
Yeah, shoutouts to my teammates, all of them. Thomas and Matt and Connie raced today. Shout out to Arika, who couldn't make it today, and also to Alexis, who also couldn't make it. So yeah, we're a great bunch. We're a great team, and I hope that we will have good results in the next race and in the future of this league. And thank you for broadcasting.
No worries. See you next week.
See ya.
All right, moving on to Hugo Olsen. We don't have Henry with us yet. Maybe he will come in later on. But Hugo, congratulations. You are the winner of the race. Just talk me through about the first few laps at the start. And then if you also can, please, about the final battle with your teammate Henry.
Yeah, so in the beginning I was taking it a bit easy for maybe first half of the race, I think I was trying to pull away, but I quickly realized that it wasn't quite possible with the amount of drag with this setup, which hopefully made it a bit more exciting for the broadcast, having things packed together. But yeah, I was like trying to manage fuel, tires, and save the car for the end of the race, and I think it paid off.
Well, it certainly did because everybody was bunched up together really closely, and also the cooler track conditions really helped towards the end. Uh, at what point in the race did you and Henry decide we're gonna race each other? Because it really did look like it took you guys quite a while to really go for it. Because Jasper was right behind you guys too.
Yeah, the way when I exited after my last pit stop, and I got behind Jesper and Henry, I thought it was over, but I started to adjust the tools in the car, really trying to maximize everything, and I was able to get a good run. So I was able to take it 3 wide to the inside and clear both of them. So that was. Then I knew it was possible to pass as the third car, which made it what do you say, a bit more dangerous because Jesper could potentially get us back, and he was close to doing it. So he really put in a good effort to try and get us back there. But yeah, when it's 2 team cars in front, it's quite hard to do anything about that. But then, so we knew if we stopped working together, he was gonna have a run and might be able to pass us. So basically, when the white flag was out, then we started to race each other.
All right, well, that's always interesting to really hear from the 2 teammates. But great team performance by both of you. So congratulations to your teammate Henry as well. He isn't here in the Discord, so we'll just talk to him off air. But great team result, as I mentioned. Congratulations to you, especially on the win. It's always nice to win at Indy, of course. It's the one that you want to win. So going into the rest of the season, definitely the momentum seems to be with you right now. So hopefully you can keep it up for the rest. But before I let you go, feel free to send out your shout-outs.
Yeah, so of course, shout out to Powerslide Motorsports, and of course Henry too, for the teamwork and all that. And I also wanna thank the people that make this league happen and all the races, and of course you for the broadcast too.
No worries, thank you. So next race is gonna be the first test, I guess, after this race, where to see where you are for the rest of the season. So good luck then, and yeah, for the rest of the season too.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for us here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We didn't get the chance to talk to Henry Bennett, unfortunately. I don't really know where he is, but probably celebrating the 1-2 with his other teammates, and Hugo joining the party as well. So we wish them a very nice party to celebrate this win. Of course, they all deserve it. It was an excellent performance. It was an amazing performance, really, by the Powerslide boys. So congratulations to the entire team on that effort. But next week, we go to the streets of Detroit in Belle Isle. So thanks to everybody for watching, and see you all then. And also, by the way, thanks to all the sponsors, Majors Garage and Vopsy iRacing Paints. Check them out. All right, see you next week.